Meanwhile, Pressy, you step forward and with a bark, yell for one of the guards to come towards you. They turn. Can you make a credit rating check for me immediately? Let's just see if you get recognized.
Surely.
Yes!
A
Yes!
fumble. About as bad as it
Right in front of the
be.
guillotine.
Hello, I'm James, and we are the Stream of Chaos. Thank you for joining us here today. We are playing Reign of Terror, which is a short campaign set around the French Revolution for Call of Cthulhu 7th edition. I am joined, as I always am, by this fine cast of folks. I'll get them to introduce themselves in just a moment. But first of all, I'd like to thank Web Captioner, Sirenscape, and Roll20, tools which we use to improve our games. Without further ado, let's hear from our players. Dave, do you want to introduce yourself?
G'day, I'm Dave, and I'm playing Thierry Renault, once a sergeant, now a disheartened citizen, but determined to save the city he loves.
Ah, is that Paris or somewhere else?
TBD.
Art, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Art. I am playing every week. I am playing Joseph Hugel, who is actually Martine Hugel, who is Joseph's wife, who is moonlighting and sunlighting as her own husband. And Martine's place in this deception is being played by Martine's sister, Therese, who has currently got TB.
It's not fantastic. No, there is a plague going about Paris, and unfortunately, your sister has fallen unwell. But I'm sure that'll all be fine.
I mean, we're all currently in my house, so I hope it's fine.
Yeah. And last but not least, Jackson.
Hey, that's me. I'm Jackson, and I'm playing Christophe Pressy, who has risen up the ranks in the French People's Army, and found isn't all that cracked up to be. Wasn't all that cracked. It's really early. I'm exhausted.
That's all right. You rolled those R's with perfection, and that's what's important.
Oh, really? Is that proper French pronunciation?
I would say so. Yeah, that was
Fantastic.
pretty good. That's expertly
I'll
rolled
take it.
R's.
Bloody
Anyway.
fools.
Yeah, so if you are just joining us, remember you can catch up with the whole story so far on YouTube. But we are towards the sharp end of the campaign. Our investigators first banded together as members of the French army and managed to foil the plot of a nobleman called Comte Fenlic, who was planning to do all kinds of dastardly things. Specifically, he seemed to have some kind of plan surrounding a grand party called the Fête des Animaux, but fortunately, the investigators were able to sweep in and save the day by arresting Fenlic. Unfortunately, years later, after the revolution in France has taken full swing, it has been discovered that some of Fenlic's arcane and eldritch texts were discovered by Dr. Rigaud, now Citizen Rigaud, as per the revolutionary stylings at the time. The investigators have discovered that Citizen Rigaud is planning to try and summon down an ancient god, Azathoth, or as they have found out, referenced inside a book containing writings of a Spanish member of the Inquisition who was writing of Central American religious practices as Azathoth. And they have figured out that Rigaud is planning to use the Festival of the Supreme Being, which is a day in which a lot of people will be guillotined, to try and gather the last human sacrifices that he needs to bring down Azathoth from the stars. The investigators need to figure out a way to stop Rigaud, although unfortunately he is immortal, as far as they can tell, cannot be harmed. And the only clue they have is that if a martyr who has heard the music from beyond is somehow sent to the court of Azathoth, then it may calm the god, and they will be able to put an end to the chaos. That's about the information you have that was contained on the handout. You're currently standing outside Hugel's place after having just raided the offices of Citizen Rigaud. You have set the secret police a little bit after him, but then you were also involved in an altercation with the secret police
I don't know how
led
far we got with
today.
that strategy.
So not fantastic, but we'll see how everything goes as you are all gathered about with the book that you have managed to translate part of. What would the collection of you like to do? What's the plan?
Do we get the impression that there's a lot more in this book to glean, or is it like this is the summary of it? Anything else would just be like further detail.
You have gotten the lion's share out of this. How tomes work in Call of Cthulhu, there is a study time and you can increase your Cthulhu mythos, percentile rating. There are also spells contained in most tomes, and from the brief skim reading that the collection of you have been able to put together, there are spells in this tome. Unfortunately, there is also pretty significant study time attached to tomes like these, and you do not have that kind of time available. If you manage to get this book to an expert, you might be able to glean a little bit of additional information. You probably won't be able to glean any of the spells, but you have the lion's share. Everything that you need as such. And I might just show you once again the handout that you received to make sure that you
I'm
are
just
up
looking
to
through
date.
it now.
Okay, fantastic. Let me just bring up the supreme.
So one of the
void
key
text.
lines is this one where it goes, should 10,000 souls be sacrificed to this terrible devil beyond the stars, Azathoth, in the space of 1 year, that's the timeline, cut open with a blade inscribed with the foul circular design, then Azatotl's hell of unending night shall open on earth. Heaven will be lost to us forever. So what I'm wondering is, do we think the blade is what he was doing in the catacombs where he was carving the design on them, or is it when they're getting guillotined at the beginning and getting chopped into pieces?
So, by the symbol specifically, can you make for me? I'm just thinking what kind of. Do you have any occult skill? Otherwise, I'll take an intelligence and idea
Or I'm
roll.
also just bouncing ideas off the other two, like whatever
sure.
our theory would be, and then we can try and. I don't have a cult, I don't think. No.
I mean, it specifically says cut open with a blade inscribed with that foul circular design. He was mandalaring skulls, but
And that
I
was
don't
sort of-
know whether the scalpel itself had the design. So really, one way we could check is just go and look at the blade of the guillotine. 'Cause
Is there
that's
just
not
the
gonna end
one
poorly.
guillotine, or they'd have like a bunch, right, for mass?
There would be
bit of hustle.
several There are several guillotines now in
Better
the
start checking them.
in what is now today called the Place de la Concorde, but was then called Place de la Guillotine or Guillotine Square. There is one
Inventive.
large guillotine that is set up, and people are ferried through that guillotine. If that guillotine breaks or needs replacing, there are other guillotines that they can kind of swoop in.
Oh,
And
that's
there
good.
are other ones in use in other parts of France. So yes, there are multiple guillotines, but most traffic goes through this one that is set up in Place de la Guillotine.
Okay, so I mean that seems like something to take a look at. I mean,
I think
on
we
the
should
off
look at the
chance,
guillotine.
Pressy, you don't remember seeing. Did you get a good look at the scalpel? I mean, he was jamming it at
I was
your
going to
eye.
ask that as well. Yeah, he was stabbing at me, and he was getting pretty close up. Is there
Was a
any
little
chance
warm.
I saw that?
Do you want to make a retroactive spot hidden check for me?
I would love to. Here it
Balls.
comes. Oh, that was sleight of hand. Sorry, that doesn't count.
Just remake with a spot hidden. That's fine. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. You could have lucked it. I mean, that thing got pretty into your eye at one point, or at least almost.
Are you gonna retroactively go blind if you fail?
No, this
Push
wouldn't
it.
be a push. This wouldn't be a push. I'm
That's what I
afraid-
mean. Like, if you push it and you fail, is he going to retroactively have had his eyeball sliced
No,
and go
if you-
blind?
No, that's fine. It was dark. We were in the catacombs. So I didn't have a good chance of seeing it.
If you push the roll, I think that you uncover some of the horror of that event hits you again, and you take some sanity loss. Would be the push condition, but no,
good.
you are not. I mean, it was a very small blade. You're not really sure.
I think we should have a look at that guillotine.
And then the other thing is it talks about only music beyond even that of angels could exercise this greatest and supreme, interesting wording, of all demons. Even if a martyr who had heard such music from beyond would offer himself up for sacrifice, even as did the Son upon the cross, Azatotl's work would be undone. And what was our tie to
So
sand that you reminded us of?
So the tie to Zan is that as the collection of you were leaving from Count Fenrique's mansion, so long ago, the first time you arrived, all of you heard a single, burst of music that was so forceful it drove you all to your knees. The echo of it still occasionally leaving you waking up in the middle of the night in cold sweats. Later on, when Hugel was trying to round up people who were trying to escape from Count Fenrique's manor after you assaulted it, you discovered Zan and Celine, his companion, both seemingly leaving at the same time. And you know that Zan had been holding a violin, and Count Fenrique had been saying, "I will have you play at the Festival of Animaux if you, things like that." So this is apparently the musician who played something so powerful, so strange. If there ever was music from beyond, perhaps it is that. And if you're not sure, though, you do have an ally that you could speak to. You could always go back to the ghoul in the catacombs that you previously encountered. Perhaps he can point you in the right direction. That said, the sanity loss from the music that you heard was real. If somebody says chilling music, scary music, all your mind would immediately flutter to the couple of bars that you heard of Zan's strange piece.
I wonder, because he was in the employ of Fenlique. I wonder if Fenlique knew that this was this was in the cards and he was hedging bets. If he was trying to find this music as well, if it has magical effect, could have just been curated. Maybe just collects this sort of stuff. Weird goblin.
It's quite possible. There's reference to it is in this book, and this book was recovered from Fenlique's effects. So presumably he would have had the same information to find out about it.
Hang on. That's our last resort of someone we could talk to. What's his situation?
Fenlique, well, last you heard, he was taken to Sharonton Asylum, and he was to be put there in a specially made cell.
Oh, that's so good.
Abandoned.
That's some Hannibal Lecter shit. We go up and he's caged behind the bars and we're trying to get information from him as he's staring and threatening to eat Pressy.
I think we would be better off trying to find the musician, right? Trying to find the violin player.
I guess.
Is that on the cards, or is that it was 5 years ago?
Yes, because yes. I don't know. I'm on the side of let's go see if we can find the musicians. That I let them go. They kind of owe me a favor.
Okay.
Just a small one. Maybe saving the world small.
So we reckon musicians and the guillotine, and then maybe a small Fenlique side trip if we have time.
If we can't get the information,
figure out exactly.
Well, look,
Fenlique
I'm coming
is.
around to it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm all for some weird shit. If we can't, if our safe options run out, and I safe.
But genuinely, it's his book and his musician. I think that makes a ton of sense. I think it's dangerous. I agree. Last resort, but
I would argue the last resort is Heron, because he'd know some shit, and one of us is friendly with him apparently.
Heron does know where everybody is in the city. If you're trying to track someone down, presumably he would be able to tell you where they are.
So to help us find Zan, but we don't get the impression Heron's tied up in occult nonsense. He didn't really know.
It just means if we needed to find someone.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm just saying he's the absolute last resort, because if we don't get that right, instant death.
Yeah. Guillotine. Okay. All right. Sounds like a plan. What time of day is it, Jim?
It is currently, so you went to do the break-in in the middle of the night. You probably spent a couple of hours there, so it's probably about 3 or 4 in the morning at this point. It's probably about 3, a bit earlier.
I think we established we had got back into Hugel's house and Pressy had taken a first look at the book.
Oh, in which case we'll say, you have done some reading and some study, and it was translated from Latin. We'll say that dawn is just beginning to break.
We also had a little cheers, if I remember correctly.
That is right.
One for the big ears. Alrighty. So what's the go for today?
Rest. First.
Is it the 4th? Or is
currently
it the
you
4th,
have
right?
Let me check. You have 4 days remaining from the until the 6th. So it would be until the 8th. It would be the 4th currently, yes.
Okay. I mean, we could
Just,
recover
checking
for a day.
Checking
but
our
it'd be pretty-
doomsday calendar there.
Yeah, I'm gonna circle the one that we're on. We could recover for a day, but we're cutting it pretty.
Oh
pretty
no,
fine.
no,
I
not
think
a
we
whole
should.
day.
Just the
If it's 4
morning.
a.m. We've been up all night. Let's have a bit
It
of a
would be
snooze
good
in.
to have a nap so that we don't end up with like, constitution level exhaustion, but like other than that.
Yeah. Okay.
I will say the collection of you, just because of how you spent the last couple of days since you were at the catacombs, you have sort of started to do that spin towards being a bit more nocturnal. So the collection of you could now take a rest and get up around, noon and be fine for the rest of the day and the evening, as long as you, get back by sundown the next day to sleep, kind of thing. Sunrise, rather.
When are the guillotines operated most regularly?
The guillotines are in operation during the day. Even if they're not used all the time, they are open as such, and they will have
walk-ins.
guards. Oh, exactly. Yeah, just if you want a little off the top, you can come through.
You gotta make money, man. That's the grind. You gotta you gotta always be out there selling your product.
Exactly. It's a cutthroat business. Anyway, so there are guards stationed around the guillotine at all times. There will probably be crowds gathered around the guillotine as well. So you can blend seamlessly in with the crowds because there's a lot of people there who hang out hoping to catch a show. At night time, the guillotines are shut, and there are occasionally worries of sabotage to the guillotines. It's a symbolic, powerful thing. So the guillotines are guarded at night. They're not just, left standing ominously.
So maybe during the day is our best bet. Go in with the crowd.
I love the idea that we just okay, so role-playing games generally massively overly complicate plans. We just rock up to the guillotine at night and go, hey, can we have a look at the blade? Kind of interested in it, like sort of, it's the revolution. It's a symbol of the Revolution of France. Can we do that? And the guards are like, okay, like we're not gonna
I think it's
touch
worth
it.
a shot. That or we just
Like-
go in with the crowds and just sneak. Like we just need to see it from the distance, right?
Or we tell the guards the truth, which is we think someone may have tampered with the guillotines.
That's fair. That's
They'll
very
probably
true.
investigate themselves. Although if they find weird symbols,
Yeah.
I'd say going in with the crowd during the day is the most sensible. That's my vote. But open to
Yeah, but
open to
daytime
alternatives.
snaps.
I feel raring to go. I feel good.
You can,
Yeah,
as I said, you
your
can nap
problem
until
is
about
blood loss.
noon. You can nap until about noon and head off. Otherwise, if you do want to head out now and try and push for the entire day, you will need to make constitution checks.
Okay.
My
all
vote
right.
is to nap.
Yeah,
Alright.
I'm napping.
Little snozzle until noon.
All right.
I roll to nap.
So the two of you set up Hugel and Pressy and go to sleep. The warmth from the toast that you had just a moment ago still sitting around in your core. Yourself, Renault. Now, you are pretty close to your own home, we have established.
Yar.
You could nip back home for a nap if you'd like.
I'm staying away from my family until this gets resolved because I don't want them to get drawn into some nonsense or another. So I'm going to stay here.
That is absolutely fair enough. In which case, you two will settle down and the three of you can fall into a fitful sleep. Of course, at this pointy end of the campaign, your dreams are restless and troubled. You find yourself waking constantly. Pressy, you are plagued by images of a scalpel rushing towards your face throughout the evening. You sure you don't want to push that roll from before?
In my dreams?
Yeah.
That's a pretty good way to do it.
Oh, go
I
on.
like that.
Hey,
yeah.
Got sanity
As
to
you can
spare.
see
I
the
dare
blade
you.
flashing towards your face, turning this way and that, sweat dripping down. You keep, muttering under your breath, help, Melody, Father, anyone, and then make the pushed roll.
I'm playing with knives nearby. Ooh.
And as the blade lunges for you this time, you can see it, or it must have been inches from your eye. The perfect, pure, unmarked scalpel. Shining
so it wasn't
length
that at
of
least.
glistening metal.
Is a guillotine.
Great. Well, that's good news.
With that good news, you're able to kind of snuggle down into a more comfortable sleep.
I mean, I won't report it to my comrades because they don't really want to hear me reinterpret my dreams, but I think I'm comforted at least.
Okay, fantastic. All right. So the next morning, you wake up and we're wandering down the street. You know, outside there are hordes of people as you come through. It's not morning anymore. It's kind of noon. People are bustling about, carrying water. One of them, named Anoid, who just subscribed, is lugging a large bucket as they go past. Thank you, Anoid. And the collection of you have the day to yourselves. Your sister, Hugel, Therese, is still in her room. You can occasionally hear just this wet, hacking cough coming from inside. She will ask before you leave today if you can go and bring some water for her, because she does not feel well enough to go and get it herself.
Of course. Anything you need, my dear.
It only takes, it takes you a half hour or so to go. And in fact, are you willing to invest time, or would you rather throw a coin to somebody who is like trying to sell on water after having picked it up?
Hang on, let me see what my credit rating is. Not great. I think Hugel is still very much, Vivandia. Get the stuff you need as you need it. Don't spend money that you don't have on things you don't need. So yes, I will invest some time in it and join up with the other two at the guillotine when I am done with my chores, unless they wish to come with me for some reason.
Yeah. No, I think, yep.
Pressy and I'll get there early so we can try and get like splash zone seats right at the front.
Okay, fantastic. All right, so
Do you
the
have your
two
handkerchiefs ready?
exactly.
Poncho
Yeah.
on. Whoa!
So the collection of you can all head towards the Place de la Guillotine. As you come into the large square itself, it's this big open area, cobblestoned ground with a large stage built up in the center that has the guillotine flags upon it. There are always crowds here, and there are always some guards, each of them wearing bright, colorful pieces of revolutionary regalia, trying to demonstrate their valor and conviction to the cause. The walk along takes you through some of the more wealthy parts of Paris, so you're away from kind of the tenement houses that you've been sheltering in and nearby. As you arrive in the place, you have a little bit of time. As you said, you got there early. You are actually in the middle of the day, so there's already crowds here, but you can begin to try and weave through, pulling back citizens like RQ Stefan, who also subscribed. Thank you very much. So the two of you have arrived at the Place de la Guillotine. You will be able to be rejoined by Hugel shortly.
I mean, we just need
large
to get
structure,
we just need to get
the Lady
eyes on it,
Grace.
right? Can we try and push
Sure,
forward
yeah.
to the guillotine and get a look at it?
Absolutely. The two of you move into the crowd, weaving through. I'll get you both to make a spot hidden check as you move by.
That's what I was born to do.
Did you say there were multiple guillotines we had to worry about?
No, they're just in here. There is just the one that is set up.
Look at us go.
Okay, fantastic. All right, so the two of you get sort of like to the edge of a perimeter. You're not actually allowed up on the stage, and if you start getting too close, there's a couple of bored-looking guards who sort of hold up a hand and keep you back. But it's close enough where you are for the two of you to be able to look up at the blade. At first glance, it doesn't look like there's anything on it. It seems like just a long piece of metal hanging with a heavy weight behind it. But as the light catches it just right, you can see very precisely, carved at just a fine level of filigree onto it, as if done by a surgeon. There is a complex pattern, a large twisting mandala-esque design that stretches across the blade.
I think we should put a stop to this. I will speak to the guards. Guards!
I also, and as you go up, I will growl. Ask them where the blade is made. And then I'll step back so I'm not in the conversation, but I'm in a supporting, like I can step in as needed, but won't necessarily be associated. I'll be nearby.
Okay, fantastic. So you shrink back into the crowd. Hugel, you can have returned to give Therese some water. she's looking, paler and paler by the day. But after spending some time with her, you have now rejoined your companions and you are at plus la guillotine. Your mind, however, is slightly troubled by your sister's condition. Meanwhile, Pressy, you step forward and with a bark, yell for one of the guards to come towards you. They turn. Can you make a credit rating check for me immediately? Let's just see if you get recognized.
Surely.
Yes!
A
Yes!
fumble. About as bad as it
Right in front of the
can be.
guillotine.
Ooh, all right.
Don't lose
Scenario
your
speed run.
So this one of the soldiers turns towards you, and you actually do recognize this soldier. Can you let's say they are called Jean-Marc. Jean-Marc looks towards you kind of bored, and when he sees you, his eyes widen. We'll say that you actually get along with Jean-Marc relatively well.
Oh, that's good.
He glances around very nervously, and then hurries forward, and gets close, leans in, and says, Christophe, what are you doing here? The whole city is a buzz. People are looking for you.
Why do they look for me?
There was something you were spotted, been followed. Something about an arson. There's questions. You're wanted for interrogation by Heron.
Yes, this is outrageous. Yeah, you know me well, Jean-Marc. You know I am a loyal citizen and a supporter of the revolution.
As you start to say that, his eyes widen, and before he can stop himself, he says, "Not that well. Not," and kind of looks like he wants to take a step back, like distance himself from you. He pulls back, then kind of leans in again and says, you have friends, Pressy, you do. Myself and other people. I'm sure you can get out ahead of this, but that depends. You don't want to be spotted and taken in by the wrong guards. I shouldn't be talking to you."
I understand. I will not trouble you further, Jean-Marc. But perhaps I can leave you with the task I came here to do. I know you are just as loyal and steadfast as I am, and I think this task is up to you.
Kind
Trying
of
to charm him.
grimaces. A charm? Yeah, okay. Yep. Give me a charm.
At least he's not
Tempting to
singing.
charm him.
Yeah.
This is moving. Growth, rather.
Pressy,
I
Push it.
forgot to roll my luck.
He will start muttering, "I can't, there's no time." He's just sort of interrupting you and not letting you get the words out. If you spoke just a bit louder, spoke over him, you'd get your message across. Of course, there's a risk that another one of the guards nearby would hear you.
I'll have a go.
All right.
Yes. Hero.
This can't go wrong. I can't fail every check in this scene, can I?
Do I need to remind you about the 17 failed rolls in a
Oh,
row?
that was a bit of fun, wasn't it?
Nope, that's all good. Yes, I will say, Jean-Marc, listen.
Oh, he's good.
And he will fall totally silent as you like lean in and seize him by the collar. What do you say?
We have reason to believe the guillotine blade has been tampered with. See those markings? They are weakening the structural integrity and it could fail at any moment. We do not want to cause a panic, but if you can, replace the guillotine blade with another fresh one.
Another that would. I do not have that authority.
You don't know where they
Pressy.
come from?
They are made and then, but they go through the government, every piece of it. I know that there are doctors who look over the blade and make sure that they meet the standard required by the state.
I believe that one of the doctors is the one who has tampered with it.
He kind of turns pale and he looks back and forth. He'll lean in one more time and he will say, Pressy, I could, maybe I can do something. Maybe I can take the guillotine blade down, but it will only be down for a day before someone puts it back up. And my life would be at risk. I think if this problem is serious, if there are saboteurs, and if they are framing you for what you have done, I put it into your hands. Listen, tomorrow night, I will be manning the guillotine as one of the night guards. If you come during the evening, I can get you in close, but that's the best I can do.
I understand. Thank you for your help. If you have the opportunity to pass this up the chain without getting to the guards, then you should take it. But I understand it may not be easy. And of course, if I am under investigation, it is beneficial for you that I was not here.
His eyes will kind of set serious. We'll say you surfed with Jean-Marc in the Vendée, and you two learnt to trust each other. After taking a deep breath, he will say, "It will risk my life to try and report this, Pressy. But if you ask me to, I will do it. Would you like to ask him to?"
We.
All right. He
7.
nods. Okay. No, you're good. He
Sorry,
will
8.
Nod. He will
Extreme
nod.
Oh, in that case.
He will do it. The point is that it might not end well for him.
If he
Sorry.
doesn't do it, it might not
not
end well for Paris.
Okay.
So,
In which
you
case-
know, get over yourself, Jean-Marc.
Jean-Marc.
And he will turn around and he will head back, determined to find a moment to bring the conversation forward. The three of you can reconvene at the edge of the crowds. Now, since the two of you were sort of hanging out, Hugel and Renaud, can I get the two of you to make a listen check?
Sure. I think I was saying reasonably close. I think we didn't hear the conversation because Jean-Marc came up and was like quiet. But I think
Yeah.
as soon as we saw him like whispering and gesticulating nervously, I was definitely focused on their conversation. I was thinking Jean-Marc was going to betray them. So it was where I was gazing at least. Earned success.
Okay, fantastic.
Regular success.
Regular success. So if you were listening to the conversation, Renaud. So with a hard success, you're going to hear everything from the conversation. So you are up to date with that situation.
Okay, cool.
And since you got a hard success, you will also hear the same thing that Hugel hears with a regular, which is that as the two of you are kind of hanging about, you two are particularly tense. You know, everyone around the guillotine at the moment is here for fun. And there's no tension in the air, really. So there's, like, no one is listening out for this kind of, like, primal threat everywhere. But the two of you can detect, just below the level of hearing, a strange kind of distorted hum. And even if you did hear it as a normal passerby, you would probably just dismiss it because, I'm just imagining things. But the two of you know better than to think that. There is a hum in the air, something that is setting your teeth on edge. And every now and again, you hear it begin to articulate what could almost be words. Deep in the base of your skull, ringing out. And it appears to be emanating from around the guillotine, but not the guillotine itself, literally as if something is going around the guillotine.
Like something's been trapped in its gravity or drawn
fades.
towards it.
There is something that I guess it's not like a perfect orbit or something. It's as if there is a sound. There is something that a sound is emanating from, and it is moving about the guillotine. Not in kind of like a perfect mathematical system. It stops occasionally, slowly. It moves about.
Manifestation of Azathoth as it is being created, just having a wander, is my guess.
I looked to Hugel and I grabbed. Did you hear that? Is there someone moving around the guillotine with something in their pockets?
I don't think it is something. I think it is the thing being summoned. I don't think it is a quick summoning. I think it comes in pieces, and it is close enough to almost break through. Perhaps. I do not think we have much time.
You may be right. Watch Pressy. I'm going to check. I just want to go and see if there's someone like moving in like of loose pattern, or if there's anyone around there. Mention it moving elliptically. I just want to make sure there's nothing physical that I could spot.
Sure. So to get this close, you're actually going to have to like get right up to the guillotine. I would accept a stealth check. Otherwise, I'll get you to make a spot hidden again, but it's going to be hard to succeed.
I'll do spot hidden. I think what I'm doing is I'm a long way away. I'm doing a full loop of the thing, and I'm trying to spot if I can see someone in the crowd moving around it and kind of matching this shape or anything
Excellent.
like that.
And Hugel, are you doing anything at this point beyond gazing?
Nah.
I may try and get closer. I'm pretty stealthy.
Okay, fantastic. While Renault is talking, what you can confirm first of all, Renault, while Pressy's talking, Renault, you can it's not coming from a person.
Yeah.
It's coming from the air. You know, if there's something
Ethereal
there, it's
nonsense,
ethereal. It's nothing that you can see.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Hugel, you have an opportunity too. Would you like to make a stealth check?
Sure. Oh, not a fumble.
Ooh, not a fumble. Okay.
I will just not.
All right.
Like, this whole thing seems like a terrible idea, and I'm like,
Yeah, you get
not-
close, and one of the guards, you can see they're looking right where you were going to be, and you go, look, no, I'm too close to the thing that would kill me if I get caught. I don't want to, yeah.
My whole thing is not getting interrogated a bunch because, yeah, you know, yeah, no. So I will just do that thing where you're like, just gonna fade into the crowd again.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So, pretty soon after this, the three of you can reconvene with the information that you have. Something weird is happening around the guillotine, and it appears that Pressy is wanted, or at least wanted for questioning.
And also that there is a design on the guillotine. So we think that's the source of the...
Yes, of course.
The
The actual
sacrifice.
reason you came.
So mission successful is the takeaway.
Yeah. Yeah, could have gone worse.
Zan,
No complaints.
Wait, Zan and Bessit are the two musicians we are looking for. I am not sure where we would find them, as they left in quite a hurry and did not seem particularly interested in staying in Paris. But perhaps we can try and find someone who knows where they are. Someone who isn't Tehran.
Yeah, that is the obvious choice, isn't it? I mean, he was a performer. Do we know what Celine did? Like, what, or was she like a stay at
She
home?
was the violinist.
She was
Zan-
a violinist.
No, Zan was holding the violin the entire time.
Oh, I have-
Zan had the violin.
Then my notes are incorrect, or we got that the wrong way around.
She may have been holding the violin for him at one point,
Okay.
but Zan, she was holding it like she was holding it wrong. Doesn't know how
Right,
to play.
got it. Yeah, no, that's all good. So Zan was a violinist, and Bessit was just like one of the other musicians, because I know they were, or was she something else?
Can you make for me a you were the one. Can you make for me I think let's go with a. Your job is a Vivandia. You're a bit sort of actually go a disguise roll for me. I think let's go.
Hard success.
Okay, so you know enough about what people wear to define them, and not just you dress to try and look a certain way. What you wear can actually define your job. The clothing that Celine Bisset was wearing would have marked her as a courtesan. Specifically a less polite version of courtesan.
Sure.
So you would presume that that if she is still in that profession, that would define her to a couple of key locations in Paris.
But that's one way to start looking. Yeah.
It's probably less likely we find the musician, because I don't know where he'd be performing at the moment.
I think if we find Bessit, she may know where Zan is.
Okay.
Perhaps I should mention there is a chance that, some people are looking for me based on our activities last night.
Just you?
That is what I heard.
They didn't see me, so...
I did not think they recognized me. I don't think anyone can say for sure I was there.
But
But
they're looking
regardless,
for you specifically.
They don't need
I
for
am
sure. They just need to decide it's you.
that's true.
Your father is in danger then. They will go to him if they need to. They will get him to say where you are, or they will take him in your place.
I've not seen him in some time. He keeps himself well hidden. He does still practice the faith, and so he is adept at keeping a low profile, I think.
Pressy, what of Melody and your children?
I was about to say, like, what about Melody.
Maybe I should check in on them. Maybe see if I can get them out of Paris.
A suggestion, if I may, Pressy. Would not hiding them somewhere be a good idea?
I think you're right.
Perhaps, I do not like to suggest this, but perhaps the catacombs. I cannot think of a safer place. One that we have allies in.
There are demons down there. They
Those
can
demons
stay with
are
my
allies.
wife and children if they like. They will be safe there. It
Those
is
demons
nearby
are
as
allies.
well.
They saved our lives.
They eat men and women.
No, they eat corpses.
You cannot trust those creatures. We are allied in
No.
one thing, but only one. They're cannibals.
I know, I mean this with no offense at all. But we cannot trust anyone.
Send your wife and child into the catacombs then. Let them stay with the bones. Hope they do not stay there too long.
It's just a suggestion. If you think they would be safe with Renaud, send them there. But, Renaud, are you sure that that puts your wife and children at risk as well?
They're already at risk with everything we do. Better to keep them in one place so we can watch them. Also, it is not so far from your home, Yugel, so we can check on them regularly.
That is a good point. One other thing, Pricey, if you do not wish to look like yourself,
Yes, if you can do anything for me, that would not be such a bad thing.
I
So
vaguely
just before
recall-
you all commit to this plan, the other version of this, Pressy, is that you do try to get out ahead of it. It's a dark and dastardly time, but if you feel confident in your charm skill, if you feel confident in proof that you can give, and worst comes to the worst,
stirring
if
song.
you do get guillotined, it'll be in like a week and a half. You'll probably get a couple of days of like bail equivalent, and usually that'll be because they'll be like, all right, let him out. If he tries to flee the city, we'll catch him, and then we have all the proof we need. So if you fail, well, you're still going to die, but you'll probably still be able to try and foil whatever horrible thing is happening in Paris.
Also, given you're the best musician among us, I'm pretty sure you're the one who's gonna be a martyr anyway.
Wow! Spoiler alert.
Under the bus.
Yeah.
Hey, we've got to live somehow.
Renaud, I know you do not make this offer lightly. To offer your home to me after everything we've been through. So I think I should take it. I think it is reasonable that we should have our families safe together and close to one spot, all three of us.
Okay.
To go
Okay.
as yourself, or you wish to go as someone else?
Oh, yes, if you can change my appearance somewhat. Well,
I don't. Do you not remember a very long time ago, Pricey? Perhaps not that long ago, but it feels like a while. Did you not dress in one of my wife's dresses?
it was a different time. On
was a
second
good-
thought, though, I think if I am disguised myself, it may look more suspicious than not. If I am recognized and if I am arrested, then I believe I can talk myself out of that, at least temporarily. But I think if I am disguised, then it will be a bit more suspicious, a little bit more difficult to
That is
talk my way out.
Do you wish to wait until you are arrested, or do you want to face this head on? Would that not show even more that you are innocent if you go to them and say, you are looking for me, I did not do the thing you said, or I did the thing you said, but it was because I was looking into a man who I think is trying to like destroy Paris.
Get the wife
I-
and child safe first, and then we'll deal with because otherwise I'll just go for that. Yeah.
Yes, I want to enjoy some pretense of freedom for now.
But of course.
All right. Well, it sounds like a decision has been come to. Let me ask just one more thing. Renaud, as you're standing by and Hugel reminds you of the time that Pressy was placed in one of Hugel's wife's dresses. You got a pretty good spot hidden check last game when you were being carried by Hugel. Is there any narrowing of eyebrows? Any
Also, I did
neurons
just
connecting?
suggest that I was not terrible at disguising people.
Yeah. I think it's suspicions that I maybe didn't even realize I'd had. I think I suspected that Hugel might have been like a younger brother or something, like the army dodging or like trying to get the position. And I think I'm only just beginning to maybe put something together.
Fantastic. All right. So where are the three of you going? It sounds like, Pressy, you are going to be heading towards your home.
We?
What about the other two? Are you both going to accompany Pressy, or have you got other business you would like to attend to?
I'll probably head back to my home to make sure it's secure and ready to receive, and that there's no like secret police there waiting to catch me.
Okay, that's probably a pretty clever idea. You're going to head back to your place, and Hugel?
If I don't know where these courtesans tend to spend their time already, I would like to take some time to narrow down a handful of addresses so that we can go and check them out.
Yeah, that sounds good. All right, everybody's going to split up then. All right, let's. The three of you, nod at each other, and we'll break apart, leaving the Place de la Révolution and breaking out into Paris. A light drizzle starts to come over the city at this point. It's summer, but the rain still comes in. It's kind of muddy heat, leaving puddles that you eventually start to slosh through as you make your way through the streets. We'll start with Hugel, and we'll because it's a little bit of light humor as to the some of the names of the places you're going to go into.
Oh, I'm going into them. Okay, I was gonna drag the lads with me because that was funny.
Yeah, the boys.
Sure.
Okay, well, so
But I'm happy to go on my own because that's almost funnier.
so you kind of know the name Celine Bassett, and you know the profession. Based on that, you're like, okay, maybe I can just start asking people. Can you make for me? Let's say. Actually, I'll get you to make some either a credit rating or a charm check is what I'm going to be looking for, and that is to basically get these people to talk to you.
I'm actually kind of charming. I didn't realize.
There you go.
I'm not great, but like kind of all right.
Well, there you go. Could be useful. You were going to go past a bunch of places on the Rive Droite of Paris, so on the right bank, and walk through streets with amazing names.
Yes.
Like the Street of the Pubic Hair, or Rue de Poilcon. Or the Street of Glatcou, or the Rule of the Scratch Your Ass. There's a couple more that have more aggressive names, which I'm not going to say here, but one of them is called Rue Petit Muse, which is whores hide there. So you can start to wander through these
Not particularly
locations.
well hidden.
And
I should have said, officers, do not approach. That would have tricked them. Are courtesans, legal? Is their profession legitimate in this period, or is it, frowned upon?
I believe, I will have to double check, but I believe right now, I think that explicit prostitution is illegal under some kind of arcane laws codified by the revolution, but there is zero policing of it. Absolutely none. So it is functionally legal. Yes,
yeah, gotcha.
And which is why it is able to be in such an open area.
Yeah, but they're just at a disadvantage. Like if an officer ever wants to call them up on it, then they're fucked.
Exactly, and it's the kind of thing that if something went bad, they could be we'll have you guillotined because you were practicing prostitution. So it's one of the sort of many things aligned against sex workers in that time and many others. So you begin to move through, and I would like a charm or a credit rating roll to try and you're either showing some money. Or making friends.
I am flashing a winsome smile because I succeeded my charm check.
Okay, fantastic. With a winning smile, you're able to chat to a few of the people
Bonjour, enchanté.
exactly working in these areas, and you're just asking after the Celine Bassett, basically. All right, so you're just kind of throwing through these names. Most people really aren't able to provide you with much information. You make a wonderful friend called Pasta Muncher who just subscribed as well. Thank you very
Hey,
much.
I
Who will
mean-
direct you towards a woman named Demoiselle Blanchefort. Demoiselle Blanchefort has been around Paris for a long time, and she's someone who sort of takes care of some of the younger workers. You head towards her, and she chats with you, happily. It's kind of older woman. She has some pretty serious disfigurements that is happening, probably a result of syphilis, you would guess, but she seems relatively friendly. And after chatting with you for a while, she recalls Celine. Yes, she hasn't been around for many years, but last she heard, and thinking, she directs you towards a tenement building that is just around the corner, and she gets about halfway through giving you the address before, with a start, you realize she is directing you to the same block of apartments that Renault lives in. Last I heard, they were there in an attic room.
Merci, mademoiselle. That is very helpful information. I will go and see. She is there. We are old acquaintances, and I wanted to say hello.
She kind of eyes you as you say that. Can you make a fast talk check for me?
It's not. We are. I've met her.
Yeah. I make a fast talk check all the same.
Can I not a persuade? Okay. No.
All right, you sort of go through, and she will nod, and she will say, then kind of raise her hands, and she will say, explain nothing to me. We all have reasons to do what we do, and then her eyes kind of trace across your body once. She says, wear what we wear. And then says nothing else. She nods to you. You can turn. Vanish off. Excellent. Well done. Finding Celine could have been quite complicated, but you appear to have tracked her down.
Huzzah.
And,
I
Zan is
head back
presumably
in the
not far.
direction of Renault's house,
Yeah.
which I assume they're all at.
Have I ever
Unless something's gone
seen?
terribly.
Oh, I never saw Celine or
No,
Zan. It was
never
only
saw
Hugo.
Celine.
I could have walked past them.
Could
Spooky.
have.
That's
I
what
could have
happens
heard.
when you're like way too important and up your own ass, is you don't pay attention to the little people.
Well, and also, I wasn't there when they were there.
No, you were directing people, doing your like
Yeah,
sergeant.
my job.
Yeah. So meanwhile, Renault, speaking of which, you are going to return home. You head upstairs, the door to the attic room. If this was a television series, we would see the camera pan across to it and hesitate there as you go, right past it, ignoring it completely. And you'll be able to head into your room and see your wife and children. Last we heard from them, things, obviously your fortune and finances have gone down, but your girls will be a little bit older. It could be possible that the older one is reaching the point where she might begin to, do work, collecting water and things like that.
God.
What's happening at home?
I don't know, mate. It's all shit, right? Like,
Yep.
what's the best? It's like they're at an age where they should be going to school, right?
Yep.
And, getting futures. And instead, that one's over there chewing a block of wood, and the other one's like, oh boy, next big step in their childhood. She's going to go fetch water and maybe get the plague and die. It sucks.
It does.
Are there any schools like because wouldn't they go now it's public schooling and everyone gets an education?
Yes,
Is there any of that?
there are some public schoolings public schools and lessons that are being provided. So there would be some element of education, but it was also quite difficult for particularly people who needed every available person working to get food and stuff to take advantage of those facilities.
Yeah. I think I've tried to shoulder as much of the burden as I can. And so I think when I come back, my wife's got like some little book of like numbers and letters and is sitting down there with the two children, one in her lap and the other in a chair across from her. And they're going through like rudimentary exercises. We try to keep up spirits and keep up their education as best as possible. I think I'm the miserable one. More so like my wife's trying to have like a positive attitude.
It's one of those, like the front room is a bit nice kind of thing. So when you come in, the apartment actually doesn't look as destitute as you do. Do you do the thing where you kind of gussy up and try and make sure that you're not as, hide the injuries that you have?
I take off the
coming
jacket, and I'd only taken the saber with me because I thought the catacombs were dangerous. So I like put that away. I part my hair a little bit, but it's what can you do? And I try to hide the fact that I've been shot and bitted with it. Actually, I think I like pull the scarf back up, and I'm just gonna try and not acknowledge that as best as possible. I didn't see any like secret police on my way in or anything. There weren't like cops and dogs at the windows, SWAT teams rappelling down the side.
Nothing like that. But why don't you make for me a spot hidden check to see if you can actually determine any hidden surveillance?
Yar. Hard success.
There are no people watching your home.
Okay, no more than usual or anything stands out.
No.
Okay.
No, I can tell you
There's
this apartment block is currently not under surveillance.
Okay, awesome.
Like you know what to look for. There's no one here.
Okay, I breathe like a sigh of relief. That's good to know. I'm going to, when I get a window, I don't speak too much with my wife. Again, it's all fairly painful and I try not to, but I will communicate to her that I have a friend who's in danger, who has suffered as we have in the past, and I need her and her child to stay here, possibly also her father, for a few. Actually, I guess I can probably count the days, right? If they're still staying here after that, they're in trouble for about no more than a week. Or a 12-day. What's the system? A 10-day?
So your version of a week, which would be 12 days. So yes, I forget what they call them, but yes, she will nod. She will stop to do the mental math because it's still a new system there as well. So, and then kind of nod. She seems a bit nervous about it, but there is there is a trust between the two of you. You both know the situation that you're in, and she trusts that you would kind of keep things safe. She will pull you into a hug. She probably doesn't notice any of your injuries, but as she kind of hugs you, she will feel the press of your hidden pistol now that you did acquire last time against your side, and kind of you see her eyes widen, but she says nothing, and will return.
I assume that I gave Pressy my address so he can come here. So what I'll then do is I'll take a period to sit across the side next to one of my girls, and as I have a drink of like liquor or whatever to dull some of the pain, I'm just standing there pointing at words on the sheet so that she can read them out to me and show me what she's learned.
Fantastic. Yep, and she's doing pretty well for what it's worth.
Good on her.
Getting a book like this is an important step, and the lessons
There's hope yet, as long as the world doesn't end.
Yes, that'll be a big one. Meanwhile, Pressy, we've gone from one home, and fortunately, there was no secret police outside it. I'm sure that there will be no secret police outside yours. As you return and head back through the nicer areas of Paris now, heading towards your home, you will eventually see. What does your house look like? Do you live in like a nice apartment, or do you actually have a house yourself? Do you think? We'll never know because Pressy is muted.
I think it'd be a nice apartment because, he's done quite well for himself, but I think living in a house is still a bit bougie,
Sure.
You don't want to be seen living in a house.
In which case you've got it's probably one of those apartments that has like separate entryways or something and like stairs and stuff. So you come forward and you can see your apartment, and immediately outside it, you can see that there are two tricolor wearing guards outside who are standing and just talking to each other. Presumably there are more inside.
Well, heck.
Now, you would know the movements of your family. It's entirely possible for you to be like, I know a way in that's secret or something, or I know that my wife will probably go for a walk at this time or something.
That's not a bad idea. Yeah, let's wait until they have to go out and fetch the daily bread or whatever,
Yep.
and they'll probably all go out together.
Absolutely. So what happens is that you would sit and you kind of wait for about like an hour or so, and you're kind of going to have to lurk around and hope that you don't get spotted. I will need a stealth check, but since you are not approaching, you can do this with a bonus die.
Bonus die.
Bow, bow.
What?
Ooh.
Yeah.
I mean, what? Yep, I'll take 52.
Now
Okay.
that looks like
Um,
a 52,
Fuck.
but
In
it's
which case, sort of
actually
lurking around the sort of nearby alleys, watching, and eventually you will see a couple of the doors open, and your wife and one of your children, who is of an age that is, they can walk very easily, and then the other one bundled up in your wife's arms, move forward, and they speak to the guards like briefly for a short time, and eventually two of the guards remain standing outside the house, and one of them will accompany her on the walk, like from a distance and not being like too close. You can make a psychology check to try and get the vibe of what's happening here.
I'm not that good at psychology, so I will not.
your
Okay,
wife sold
fantastic.
you out.
In which case, you see them wander by. Your wife is walking a little bit further ahead. You could try and get over to her to have a kind of conversation that's a little more hidden, try and cause a distraction. Otherwise, you could try and get into the house while there's less guards. But it's not an easy situation here. She is walking, and she has a bucket with her, apparently going to get water.
Oh my god.
I don't want to make this a big thing though. I don't want to look suspicious. That's the I kill the card.
All right.
No,
Whip out your gun and fire several shots.
Shoot your wife so she can't sell you out.
I think
Kill the guy. Shoot him. You're the best shot in Paris. You're the sniper of the revolution. No one would ever know. Kill the guard. Kill him. One sound amongst the crowds. They'll
I don't
never
need
spot
this
you.
on my shoulder.
Oh, hang on. No, wait. You want someone on your other shoulder? Kill the guards.
Kill the guard.
I'm going to follow Melody and the children and the guard.
Yep.
And if I can, try to catch Melody's eye and try to gesture to her to figure out how to send the guard away, but without approaching. So if the guard spots
Yep.
me, I'll just be like, oh, hey.
I will need one more stealth check is what I'm going to be looking for.
That's fair.
Oh, yes! Kill that guy.
Okay, fantastic.
You love to see
Isn't there a rule that you can't fumble twice in a single session?
There is no
That's
such
a-
rule.
It's a 1 in 100 chance, Jamie. This is
It's amazing. It's what's in the cellar all over again.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
So what happens is you wait until they get over to the water fountains. This is in a nicer area, so there's less of a queue. You try to sort of hang around in one of the alleys, and you catch her eye. And she catches yours, sees what's happening, tries to get over towards you, and will burst forward and eventually dart across the square. And as she's going, she's only a few meters away from you. You can see like panic and fear in her eye, but she's relieved to see you. She's got one of your children there, and the other one is darting along behind. You will see that the guard has spotted her and looks up, sees her moving towards you, and begins to move forward, hurrying across the square as well. So you've got both of them coming at you, probably 5 seconds until she arrives and 25 seconds until the guard does.
All right. So as Melody arrives, I'll just tell her, you can stay with Citizen 1 for some time. I think that is best. Everything will be all right. It's just a misunderstanding.
Okay, well, they were asking so many questions, Christophe, and they asked where your father was, and I had to tell them. I couldn't, and she managed to get a few more words out before you hear the loud, sharp bark of "Hey!" as one of the guards comes forward and he points, and he will yell, "Citizen, stop!" as he points to you.
I am stopping.
All right.
I heard that someone wanted to speak to me, so I figured that I better come home, and sure enough, here you are.
he will hurry forward and, seeing you not kind of resisting or anything, kind of looks. All right. Well, come this way then. Come this way, and we'll take you back towards the house.
Really?
Along with your wife, and you try to give the best sort of smile. Soon you will meet more guards. Can you give me a charm check just to continue this air of everything's fine. I'm here.
Everything's
I'm talking,
fine.
It's okay.
So heckin' charming.
So heckin' charming. Okay, it's all right. We will jump away from you for just a moment, and we will return to the other two. Hugel, you can eventually rejoin. You know that the others will presumably be at Renault's house. So eventually you will arrive, and with a knock, Renault, I presume you will open the door, leave your daughter to the side. The two of you are now together and can do as you wish. There is no word from Pressy.
Bonjour. I understand the lady we are looking for lives in your tenement.
Describe her.
I described Celine.
Okay.
I imagine it doesn't
From
narrow it
what I
down. It's a
remember.
reasonably busy place. I don't think I look too close. Does it ring a bell?
Make a spot hidden check. It's going to be very hard.
Very good. Trying to think if there's anything else suitable. Just normal success.
Normal success. It could be any of, a couple of women that you've seen popping about. You have never seen someone who meets Zan's description.
I will also be very polite and say bonjour to Madame Renault and the small children, who I probably remember the names of. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I probably do too. My wife's probably quite friendly with you, given she was the one that was accepting your packages. My wife is
Exactly.
Marguerite. My children are Lucy and Olivier.
Yes, Olivie. Yeah.
Olivie.
She will come and pull you into an embrace, and she holds you very tight for a long time. Really, it clearly matters a lot before she releases you, and then everything's back to normal, and you chat for a bit. She kind of will retire with the girls, leaving the two of you to talk.
I have worked through what looks like half a bottle of wine in the period since we've left. I pour a glass for you as well, and I sit down and continue to slug through mine, properly getting into my cups.
It's good to see your wife as well, Renault. And the children too. You are lucky, huh? Oh, should we go and find Celine? Have you heard from Pricey yet?
No. He should
Well-
not be this long.
Perhaps he's spending some time with his wife. While we wait, we could go and check on Celine, and if he is not back when we are done, then we go looking for him.
Okay.
I stand up and I get my jacket again and re-grab my sword. I think when I stand up,
you're not even going
out.
outside.
Yeah, but I'm still getting my sword. If there's nonsense about, I also probably do a little stagger as I get up. I think a little more inebriated than I realized I was.
Yeah,
excellent.
and as per usual, Joseph will be like, okay, and
can
sort
you-
of help you up a bit, and then be like, are you
Fine. I'm fine.
Can you make a Constitution check as per the rules of the Call of Cthulhu drinking?
How about you?
Okay, fantastic. You said half a bottle of wine, so I'll get you to make one more as well, and we'll go to the level 2 of drunkenness.
How about you?
Okay, fantastic.
man
You have
knows
no
how to
penalties, and you have immunity to 2 sanity points.
Oh, no.
2 or less, you're fine because everything's a little blurry.
does that help?
Somewhat. I still dream at night. It doesn't stop that.
I understand. Dreams are dreams take us back to places where we would rather be.
Yes.
All right. So the two of you will now move over towards the attic door. And oh, fantastic. We have a raiding party that has just come in. Thank you to Dead Aussie Gamer and welcome everybody. To catch you up, we're playing Reign of Terror, Call of Cthulhu 7th edition. Our investigators are just heading into an attic room of the apartment building that they're in, that they never knew had someone they need to speak to inside. And we'll let you piece the rest of it together as we come through. So, you head towards the attic door. You know, clearly there's been passage through here, in and out. And as you head forward, you can reach up and knock once sharply. You're standing by outside, Renault, you know, your heady coach. You've got your saber at one side. Hugel, you're kind of glancing left and right. And then eventually the door will pull open and you will see the woman you have been looking for, Celine Bassett. She is tired looking. She is gaunt. She looks like she's aged about 10 years in the last 4 since you've seen her. Her clothes are, you know, ragged, really. It's very clear that she does not have money to keep herself. And being in a tenement house like this, that's what you expect. But a glint of recognition flashes in her eyes. If you hadn't let her go all that time ago, she might have, you know, screamed and tried to shut the door. But instead, she gives like a soft gasp, and then she will say, you, and after a moment's hesitation, she will reach forward and she pulls you into a hug, patting you onto the back, then stepping back and said, I remember you. You let us go. Thank you. You and she kind of peeks outside. You're not. Are you still soldiers? Why are you here? You should come in. We shouldn't talk outside.
I will go in.
Okay, fantastic. She catches your eyes for a second, Renault. You look like you're in sort of the same state as her, so she seems to almost trust you more. Kind of nods, and she will shut the door, and the collection of you will move up, arriving inside the attic. This is not a happy place. There is almost nothing here. Threadbare furniture, a single bed, evidence of like tiny little bits of supplies that have been salvaged to try and be sold, to try and make into anything. This is about as poor as people got during the French Revolution. And Celine's thinness is very clear of that. In fact, there's no wallpaper on the walls. It all looks like it's been like torn off as a stretch through. There's only like the occasional little scrap left. There is a coo of laughter as sitting by the foot of the bed, you will see a small child, maybe 2 or 3 years old, who looks up, and in his hands, he is holding a toy violin. And he will kind of smile and like kind of laugh towards the both of you. Up the back of the room, you will also see a small silhouette, the silhouette of Zan. He is standing in the room, facing the wall, and he doesn't make any reference to your arrival. Instead, his hands are held up as if he is holding a violin, and he is just going, and occasionally like twitching. His hands are empty. He makes no movement apart from that. Celine kind of walks forward, turns to you. You see she wants to like try and offer you food or a drink. She has nothing. So instead she kind of, we don't have much, but you saved us and we thank you for it. Also, thank you to Uncanny Adventures for subscribing. We usually do a little thing where we try and slot a character into the scene that has the name of the subscriber. Won't really work here. So we'll hit you with one later. She remains standing, kind of glancing about.
Good to see you. Is this your little one?
Yes. This is him, and she kind of walks forward and picks him up and will introduce you. She says his name immediately and totally does not need to go and double check.
Stephen.
Gilles.
Close enough.
Mm-hmm.
He looks like quite the performer already.
She kind of smiles and nods. There is a hardness to her kind of gaze as you see that, and she takes it as the compliment that you detect that there is something else behind that. Meanwhile, awkwardly, Zan is still standing in the corner of the room, continuing to twitch and move.
Is there a violin or a violin case somewhere in the room, or does he seem to be completely without an instrument?
There is no instrument in this room.
My assumption is they have sold it to live.
Yeah, I imagine so. I position myself standing by the door so that if anyone comes or goes, I will see them. And then I'm staring fixedly at Zan and just studying his movements. Would I be able to make a psychology roll to see if he's lost his sanity or if he's fallen to madness?
Absolutely. Make a psychology roll.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not today.
Not today. Look, even with this behavior, you are not sure whether Zan is completely, Call of Cthulhu insane, whether he has lost his faculties. This behavior is weird. He's made no acknowledgement of you. And as you watch for, a good 5 minutes or so, you will occasionally see his eyes drift open and he keeps playing. Maybe this is some kind of musical genius thing. It does not look like it. But unless you object, Renaud, seeing your gaze, Celine will kind of follow along, and she will kind of say, he is not so well, not since there was a time when things were good after we escaped from the Comte's clutches, but the music it lives in his head and he can't get it out. He keeps trying. I had to take his violin. She kind of gestures towards the wallpaper. He was taking, and she'll wander over to a small piece of wall where there's still some wallpaper left, bends down, kind of tears off a section of it, and she'll walk forward. She said, I left one day to get water, and when I came back, and you can see the wallpaper is covered in tiny little notes, as if musical notation has been written across the entire thing, and you can only presume it was covering all of the walls.
Madame, I don't really know how to say this without it being hard to hear. But there's someone else trying to do what Fenlik was trying to do 5 years ago. And that music may be the only thing that we have to stop him.
Her eyes will widen and she kind of looks back and forth between you and Zan. Says, "There's someone else. Do they know you've come here? Are they seeking us? Are they trying to find us? Find us like Fenlik did?"
No, madame. As far as I am aware, they have no idea that we are here talking to you, and they have no idea you exist.
She kind of takes a few deep breaths to calm herself, and then she eventually manages to say, "Fenlik wanted the music played, though. He knew it was there was something wrong with it. There was something. It gets in your head. It does." And she kind of gestures helplessly towards Zan. It does this to him. It does. She kind of looks sad again.
Did Fenrik ever tell you what the music did?
She kind of shakes her head. He didn't know. No one knew. Not even Dietrich, and he wrote it.
He wrote it?
She nods.
Is there a... I'm sorry for asking this. Is there a copy?
She kind of hesitates for a second and then gestures to the walls. There were, but I destroyed it. There's nothing left. No more copies.
If I was to bring Pepper, would Dietrich write it out just once for us? Would you be happy for us to do that?
She looks a little worried at that and then turns to him and she says, I don't know if he would. He's seeing when I tore it down and when I smashed his violin, it seemed like his mind was gone. He hasn't spoken in days, and he won't eat. He won't. She looks like she's about to kind of break down. This real exhaustion is evident in her face.
I will kind of go up and try and comfort her somewhat and say, this is a bad time for many people, and I cannot promise anything, but if there's anything I can do for you and your family, I will do my best. I am not so bad at finding food when we need to.
She takes that very seriously and nods. She says, she will say, maybe you can try, if as long as you are careful, and I can stay with him. I want to stay with him, but
of course.
maybe we can make him speak. Now, I want to remind you of one thing that you got from the Supreme Void book, specifically from the handouts. The handout that you said, if a martyr who has heard such music from beyond would offer himself up from sacrifice, even as did the Son upon the cross, then the god would be calmed. It does not state that you need to produce the music. It says that you have to have heard the music.
So theoretically, Zan's already...
The music? Yeah, Zan has heard the music. Have we heard the music in full, or have we only heard like a snippet of it? Would we have to hear the whole thing?
You would... The thought of hearing the music makes something crawl inside your skin that makes you know it would be bad, and everything shrinks away from it. You do not think you have heard it. You have heard
Zan
a
or
single
Selene
note.
Have?
You wouldn't be sure. You could ask Selene. She will say, "I have not heard the music." Zan, she will say, "I don't know. Perhaps he has. I have never allowed him to play it. Since he discovered it, he has always known its truth, and I've tried to stop him wherever I can."
I will ask her, growling from the doorway. How did he learn the music? Did it come to him in a dream, or?
She kind of sort of stops for a second, and then kind of looks up and shrugs helplessly and says, "He said, it was in a dream, but he has always known it, and it was in his blood." And as she says that, you hear a faint coo again, and the child on the ground is looking up, and you can see this faint, faraway look in his eye.
Oh dear.
Dietrich doesn't sound like a very Spanish name, so I don't think it's not like he's going to be tied to the Inquisition or whatever. Okay.
No, you would identify him as Austrian.
Yeah.
Especially you, Hugel, having fought on the front against Austria.
Bloody Austrians. You go ahead, Hugo, if you got something you need to say.
No, I have nothing. That was my sound of,
I
I've got to think of something.
If like Celine goes over to like talk to a young child or something, or Kedrum, I'll stand up next to Hugel and say,
We need to get him a violin. He will play. We will hear. We will do what needs to be done.
Where are we going to find a violin in Paris at this point? I mean, I am with you, but where on earth are we going to find a violin?
There will be one. We will steal it if we have to. Pressy may know.
Yeah.
You can track one down with enough time. There are still places that will sell musical instruments. Of course, you may have to pay through the nose for it. But in the meantime, speaking of Pressy, you are in a cold prison cell.
Oh, nice one.
Inside the Committee of Public Safety. You were taken here directly from your home. You have no idea what happened to your wife. You have no idea what happened to your children. You were ridden along and placed there, and it has been a couple of hours now. You have heard nothing except for every now and again they drag in another prisoner, or they drag out another, or occasionally the room is filled with soft weeping from one of the other cells. Eventually, you hear the sound of a door opening up as you sit, on the cold stone, and then heavy footsteps marching with a kind of almost military precision to them. And then the shadow of Heron will appear at the door in front of you. The door will be opened, and Heron steps inside. It kind of snaps, not to attention, but he nods and he says, "Citizen Pressy?"
Citizen Heron, it is good of you to see me yourself. I appreciate the opportunity to get this straightened out.
Yes, there's a lot to straighten out. You told me to watch Citizen Rigaud, so I did.
Oui.
I placed guards on his house, and then his house was burned. The man matching your description was seen at the scene.
I thank you for listening to me, Citizen Heron. and I understand what positions that puts you in. As it happens, I was drinking that night with two of my comrades, and they can vouch for me.
2 comrades.
Oui.
Are they of good standing?
Oui. Citizen Ugel as an upstanding member of the army. And, well, Citizen Renault does his best.
Okay, he will hesitate for a second. Renault, the traitor.
We were friends once, before the fall of the Bastille. And I believe I can convince him to do what is best for France again. That is why I associate with him. I know it is risky, but there is good in him yet. Please believe, it is difficult for me to tell you this, but I want to be forthcoming. I want to give you the truth.
He will nod, and after a few seconds of silence in sort of his clinical state, he's just this kind of man that gives nothing away. He will say bluntly, Citizen Rigaud claims that you are a traitor to France. He has accused you of burning his effects. He says that you consort with foreign enemies who wish to destroy everything that we have built. He said that you committed crimes that were unspeakable in the Vendée and should be executed for them.
Well, this troubles me greatly, Citizen Heron. And if it is in your capability to find the evidence of these claims, then I implore you to do so. But I do not think you can. I do not think such evidence exists. I am innocent of these charges.
So, can you make for me a persuasion check? I think is probably the best one here.
Oh, I'm a charmer.
You're a charmer?
I'm a charming
Yeah.
boy. Hard charm?
Um,
I'm saying, oh, if you
look,
could...
make
if you
make
could-
for me a charm and a persuade, actually. First of all, do the charm for the vibe that you're giving off to Heron in general. And then persuade for you actually trying to get your thing. Ooh, not so good. Ooh, not so good. Would you like to push either of those rolls? Or you just-
Or spend a lot of luck.
This is bad.
well, first of all, I forgot to roll my luck at the start of the session, so I might go ahead and do
All
that
right, please do
He's
that.
stalling James. Behead him.
Hey.
Oh,
Jesus,
what?
Jackson.
Well, that was a good thing because I wanted to fail that. That was my
Yeah.
luck improvement roll of
And
the
get
session.
that
But that
out
is
of your
my
system,
third
mate.
100 of the session, which no one needs. Yeah, lucky 7.
7 points
Thank
of
you.
luck.
So 38 points of luck.
That's not enough to get me out of that mess in particular. So pushing. What are we saying here?
Okay, if you push the charm, you will currently Heron is still kind of in the afterglow of the charm that you have previously applied. So he's not treating you as hostile, but he's not exactly treating you as friendly either. If you push this charm and fail, he will start to think of you as like as hostile. He will say, "I decide he doesn't like you." If you succeed, though, back to friendly. The persuade, if you push the persuade, it will become clear to him that you are lying about something.
All right. No, I don't think I'll push. I think I've put all my cards on the table.
Right.
I don't want to make things worse.
Heron listens to you.
bad.
Heron listens to you for a long time, kind of nodding along. You say there's no proof. I am innocent. He lets that hang in the air for a time. Leans forward. He says, "No one is innocent. Not you, not I, not Rigaud. I see what is happening here. I see 2 people trying to have the other one executed. One of you will be executed, maybe both. If you can provide the proof that should make it Rigaud, it will be Rigaud. If Rigaud can provide the proof that it is you, it will be you. This is how the game is played. Provide your proof."
Citizen Heron, there is some traveling evidence I found earlier this morning. Perhaps it is relevant. I believe the guillotine in the square was tampered with. There are markings upon the blade, as though it has been perhaps weakened. It's some kind of inscriptions, inscription-like carvings. It is most disturbing, and when I spoke to the guard there, they told me only the doctors can maintain the guillotine. Oh. I do not presume to make any inferences from this, only report it to you.
He will nod a few times, and then he will sort of call in one of his guards, and he will whisper to them for a time, and they will head off. He will turn back to you, and he will say, "You will be released for the time being, but the day after tomorrow, I will require for you to return. There will be a trial, and your fate will be decided."
Thank you, Citizen Hall.
He nods and just kind of stands aside. If you have evidence that you can find to support your case, find it.
And if you have need of me again, I will be at your service.
He will kind of watch you walk away, and then he will say, "Citizen Pressy, your companions, where do they live? The ones you were drinking with?"
Well, I have not seen Renault's home with my own eyes, but we were drinking at Citizen Ugel's house, I can tell you.
Kind of. Will you provide the address?
We?
All right, you provide the address.
I will never forgive you. Just put my sister in danger. I am.
Nope. You are a
Nope.
rat.
Yep. Never.
You gotta give him a little bit.
Nope.
If you don't want to give him
I
everything,
fucking
you
love
can...
it. Also,
I
your
told-
family's not at
As
that
far
one,
as
so you
as far
fucking-
as literally everyone was concerned, Hugo wasn't even there.
I told
Like,
him
I
I
was
was drinking
invisible.
with yous. I told him I was drinking with yous. So we had to be drinking somewhere. So that
Literally
might as
anywhere
well
other
be the
than
truth.
where my sister is.
Anyway, so he will nod, and he will say, "Yes." Now, of course, as you turn to leave, this was totally a power play by Heron. Heron knows where everyone is in the city, and as you go to leave, finally, he will say, "Renault lives," and provide you with the exact address.
beans.
So there you go.
He was.
You should-
Anyway.
You still sold us out.
You can turn and you will walk away. You will be let out. There is a lot unspoken here. The assumption is if you flee Paris, you will be caught.
Yep.
You will be sent to the guillotine.
But I'm cooperating here. I'm a good guy. You know,
Yeah.
let's just get along. Let's get this all sorted out.
There'll be a
straightened out, put
trial
behinds.
the day before the Festival of Supreme Being.
Yeah,
And
yikes.
presumably, you can try and undo things here. You can try and prove your innocence.
And otherwise, if I'm found guilty, there's like, it's to go to death row. There's like a stay of execution. It takes about 10 years to get to the guillotine. Like, they don't rush these things, do they?
Oh, yeah,
Bit of
absolutely.
time.
Long time, a couple of appeals. You do a podcast for a while. No, you will less than a day.
Yeah. All right. That's fine. That's heaps of time. Plenty of time.
I will recall to you the prologue that we had at the very start of the campaign. A
Oh,
single
please don't.
figure being taken towards the guillotine. Will
No.
it be you, Pressy? Will
No.
it be you?
No.
Meanwhile, as you go to return, where are you headed? Are you going to go back to Renault's house?
Not immediately. I have to spend some time making sure I'm not being followed.
Okay, sure. So you are going to start darting around and moving through the city. Can you make a stealth check for me?
Let's have a go. I can.
Yep. And you'll be able to lose most tails, you believe. Meanwhile, but your goal is to go to Renault's place.
Yes.
Yes. You are not going back to see your wife and daughters.
I told them. I told
They
them
were
to go to
given
Renault's
Renault's
place
address.
as well.
Yes. All right. In which case, the two of you at Renault's place, you have a goal, a violin.
How's the timing gonna work out? Do we come down and it's as Pressy's arriving, or is this early in the day?
No. You have a couple of hours. So I would estimate that if you can get a violin in a couple of hours, you will return just as Pressy and potentially his wife and children arrive.
May as well try then.
Okay.
Okay.
Down, and maybe we'll be back.
Head to like an upper market shopping district. They got a mall around here.
Yeah, I will require a credit rating check to try and find a violin that is within your capacity to.
Why don't you give us a credit rating check, Jim?
Credit rating.
Where do you get off, guy?
Jim, can you make a
demands?
James, can you make a credit rating check just to make sure you have the authority to tell us to make all these
Yeah,
rolls?
it's
60.
bastard.
Over what?
Over
a billion.
2.
What's the base credit rating for a RPG designer?
Not high enough, damn it. Please.
Look, I can give you a credit rating, but it ain't getting us anywhere.
Anyway, please let's
Does anyone have art
that's
craft?
I do.
It's
Do you have art craft?
It's art craft
cooking.
is you can try and find it, but you're not going to get one. It's more.
Yeah, that's just, I don't think we're fucking buying this. Like, I think I'm stealing it.
I have
Okay.
art and craft, but I have art and craft cooking.
Hey, that's in the. It's you're an artsy person.
Start off with the credit rating.
I'll
Jen.
go credit rating. Wouldn't that be
I
fucking
ain't
hilarious if
rolling
I got a success?
Alrighty.
Do you want a hard success?
No,
for that?
genuinely, a credit rating success is all that I need. Hugel, you are a vivandier. You find people things. That is
Yeah,
what
hell yeah.
you do. You like go through you know until eventually you're at some like curiosity shop and you buy like a violin that had like a default in it, but you know it's been repaired. and
Technically a
it's all-
children's toy, so it's
Yeah,
shit quality.
absolutely. It's the wrong size and all of this stuff, but by God, it's a violin. And yeah, you will absolutely be able to purchase this and return. And we will say for the convenience of the story that you will return and arrive basically at the same time that that Pressy's wife and children arrive, and Pressy will arrive shortly after.
Yeah, that's it. They tell us Pressy's been taken. We immediately storm the prison.
They would say they would absolutely say that Pressy was Pressy went with the guards.
Well,
He told us to
dead
come
now.
here, and he went with the guards.
Okay. Well, you are safe here for the time being, unless Heron has reason to suspect this apartment as well. But let us hope he does not.
She will nod, and she's got like bags with her and everything, and she'll come upstairs and introduce herself to your wife, Renaud. I your wife previously would still has like that kind of respect for the nobility that you had, and it becomes very, very clear that this woman is noble. So before long, Renaud, your wife actually heads over to you and is like asking you for like the equivalent of like the good, let's get out the good cutlery kind of thing.
Yeah, the good cutlery is the cutlery.
Exactly. Let's get out the cutlery, or the 2 spoons and 1 fork that we have.
We've put Melody up in like our room or whatever the equivalent is, and the kids had like just like a curtain that covers something. So you guys are going to take the master bedroom, which is like a cupboard, and we'll be in the annex, which is a linen closet.
Which your kids are really happy about because they're still at that age where they like to
sleepover.
sleep near their parents. It's great. Yeah. After a few more minutes, Pressy, you will arrive. Pretty sure you have not been followed at Renaud's apartment. You can knock on the door and rejoin.
Excellent.
Hey, what happened?
Not arrested yet.
Yet is not comforting. What happened? What did you speak to Aaron?
Yes, I spoke to Heron, and
And?
well, Rigaud wants to play the same game. He is trying to get me killed before I get him killed. That's all it comes down to.
Okay. Did Heron ask you anything else?
Well, they know I burned down Rigaud's house.
Just
Well,
you?
They believe that a man matching my description was spotted, but I don't think they can prove it.
So it was just you.
That's, well, everyone tells me what everyone tells me. Will not
They
tell me
don't
everything.
need proof. They just need to decide you did it.
I know. I have a trial day after tomorrow.
Then we
You
have
have a
time.
trial?
That everyone goes to trial these days. Everyone just goes to trial at some point. Doesn't mean anything.
By then
What
we
is the
should be
conviction
done.
rate of these trials?
This is an
110%.
adversarial trial, so I mean, one person's getting convicted at least. It's not good. It's not great. You don't hear that you've got this trial coming and be like, oh, it's fine.
Well, at least it sounds like they did not see either of us there. Not that that makes anything better for you, but perhaps
Not that they would have told me if they had.
no. But two unconnected parties assisting you with your trial is not as concerning as two connected parties assisting you, as long as, of course, we are not connected to you. In this case.
I
By the
also
time-
told I told him about the guillotine blade. That is evidence that is stacked against Rigaud, at least.
You're an idiot. Why would you say that? That is the device we need as well. If they move it now, our plan falls.
Well, our
And
plan is
now-
to get.
And now Rigaud knows that we are aware of it.
Well, our plan requires that no more heads are lost to this blade.
Or
If
that
they
one
move
more
it-
is.
It sets Rigaud's plans back. That we can say for certainty.
Well, we
Or
found,
Heron works with Rigaud, it is given straight back to him and he sets it up somewhere new.
Oh, heck.
There's no way this is solved through legitimate or honorable means. There are no more of those.
You think Iran is working with Rigaud?
Undoubtedly.
No, I think it is unlikely. Rigaud is an arrogant man. He would not share this power he has found with anyone but himself.
But he is a powerful person, and if he can offer Heron what he wants, then they could work together. He is not your friend. He is more likely to be with Rigaud than he is with us.
I am under no illusion that he is my friend, but at the very least, he can be useful to us.
No, Pricey. Heron cannot be useful. Heron is a dangerous man. He does what is right for... I cannot remember the name of the guy who's currently in charge.
Robespierre.
Robespierre.
Robespierre, thank you. He does what is right for Robespierre and for the government. But he does... I think he is very good at his job. Huh?
It is still possible to turn his ire towards Rigaud.
Of course. But
they
that
are
does
not
not
working
mean that
together.
his ire will not be turned from you.
Also, to point out, Prissy, let us say the best happens, and you win your case. When Rigaud is taken to the guillotine, it will bounce off his neck.
Well, at the very least, we have a chance.
We are stalling against the inevitable. We know what needs to be done. We have the violin. Xana's upstairs. We need to act now. Before your trial
you
date,
music?
everything will be solved.
New information to press C as they hold up a violin and point upstairs.
If we have the music, then we are saved, no?
We don't have the music.
Ugh.
We have
It
a
is in
man who
his
knows
head.
the music, and he,
He
is
can
also
play
mad.
it.
But we have to listen to it, and I do not. One of us, or many of us, I don't know. Someone has to listen to it and then say, "Take me, O great devil creature, and leave this place alone," or something like that. I don't know. I'm not a thespian.
This is beyond us now. We need to play the music, see what comes of it. Perhaps Xan. We will see.
Very well. We are some steps ahead at least.
And we do have some proof. You took the papers from the girl's place. We have the book that we found. There's enough here that if we can at least say this belonged to Rego and put them together, there's enough to at least suggest he's up to something. Whether or not they believe that it is genuine witchcraft or something else, it does not matter. There's evidence enough.
And yes, but then that puts me at the house when it was burned down.
Did you not tell Aaron you were at the house? It sounded
No.
like you did. What did you tell him?
I told him I was drinking with you.
You told him our names?
As if he didn't already know.
Heavy silence hangs over the room for a second as the other two realize the potential implications of that. There is a certain amount of obviously there is danger in Heron knowing about anybody. There is also a whole art to living while observed, and people do manage to live throughout the entire breadth of the Terra while being under suspicion. And people go from being in suspicion to under suspicion. What Pressy has done, the extenuating circumstances, of course, but in principle, drawing the ire of the revolution onto you does not immediately guarantee that you are about to be executed. What it does is it brings a great deal of complication to your life. Now, of course, your characters may feel differently about this. Pressy, says it so casually, but how
Pressy's
are the two
also a
of you gonna
level
react?
beyond just ire. Like, he's had a finger pointed at him and he's been called a traitor. Like, it's
Yes.
beyond just we think he might be. It's been by like a recognized
Yes.
figure in Paris has said it.
Yes, in
Huguel
which
and
case
I
it
are now,
draws
like,
the
associated with that figure
Yes.
and etc. But
yes, which brings to you two have the ire in that you are associates of a traitor.
in Renault's mind, Pressy's fucked. It's done. He's going to be beheaded. There's no legitimate way. It is we do this and then you flee Paris is the next step. There's no way you're surviving this.
But
It
how do
doesn't
you feel
happen.
about being connected to Pressy now? Because of
I'd been living in like it's definitely not great, but I've been betrayed by you two before. So what's another? We need to fucking save Paris. That's the priority. Everything else is extra steps.
What about you, Huguel? What are you thinking?
I am furious.
You can.
I'm pretty good at disguising myself, and I think not really, but yeah. The monarchy took my husband from me, and now some idiot from the revolution is going to take my sister. I am losing my family regardless, and I am furious.
Your eyes kind of harden, but you are well practiced at concealing your emotion. It reminds you of when you were in the army, actually, and you used to just sort of numb over to sort of receive those kind of orders. As the kind of tension builds, the violin is hanging heavy in your hands, Huguel. And Renault, you are right. There is one thing here that might work things out. Upstairs. Would you like to continue this conversation, or is it time to play the music?
It's time to light the lights.
I grab the violin which we've gotten and I march towards the stairs.
All right.
Let's get this done.
Hey, I was holding that.
Snoped.
All right. Yeah. Are you going to bustle afterwards, Huguel?
I don't know if bustle is the right word for what I'm doing right
Yes.
now, but sure, I'm
You
going
are-
to stride after Renaud
Stride is a good word.
and not look at Pressy at all.
I'll bustle if it's up for grabs.
Pressy, you can follow along. You
will
could
shuffle.
bustle
How
as
does-
well.
how does he
Shuffle.
go?
all right.
Yeah,
Shuffle.
Bustle, stride, shuffle. Wow, one of us is really ahead of the...
Upstairs, when you rejoin Celine, she's sort of placed her son onto the end of the bed, and you're sitting there. I also will announce to you with my intense embarrassment that I panicked and said Gilles as a French name. The child's name is actually Hieronymus. I was
That's
like
more
going
ridiculous.
through. I know, right? I was like, I'd completely forgotten. In which, so Hieronymus is at the end of the bed. Hieronymus Gilles Zan is his full name.
Who's Haran? Haran's the secret service guy,
So, yes,
right? It's
yes,
no
yes.
association?
No, Hieronymus is his first name, and Eron is his last name, and it's pronounced technically it's Eron. It's
Okay,
not
different
Eron,
names, different
yeah,
names. Gotcha.
Heron's full name is Francois Eron.
Francois Gilles Eron.
Ah,
Oh no, sorry, wrong one. Hieronymus
you were
Gilles
thinking of
Zan.
Hieronymus Gilles Zan.
That's it.
Hieronymus is at the end of the bed, sort of sitting there playing with his violin, his toy violin. Celine looks up as you arrive and nods. Zan is kind of moving about, still doing the same thing. But as you walk in and bring in the violin, he kind of stops, and then his eyes fixate on it hungrily, and he kind of, as if you're like holding.
I walk straight over towards him. If Celine tries to like step in or interject, I'm ignoring her and going, and I'm placing it in his arms.
One moment, Renaud. Celine, I know you wish to stay, but perhaps you and Hieronymus might be safer not hearing this.
She kind of looks for a second, and then she will shake her head and she will say, no, we are a family, we will stay together. And she scoops up Hieronymus and she kind of walks over, and she will stand nearby. If it is to happen now, if it can stop someone like Fenleek, then do it.
Right. Yeah, and I will put my arm around her and like pull her close so she has something to like hold on to, because this isn't going to be pleasant.
As you start walking towards Zan to hand over the violin, you feel your heart start to boom, 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 faster and faster. Your entire body is recoiling at the idea of this music being heard again. It's some deep instinctual fear is pushing you back, screaming no, and you're forcing yourself against it. This music will be unpleasant, and you are certain there will be consequences for hearing it. Will you all be standing in the room as you hand over the violin?
If Celine will not leave, I will not leave her. There are too many women in this world who have to suffer the pains of their husband's misfortune. I do not wish any of them to be alone.
Very well said. You stand alongside her and watch. Very good, Hugo. What about the other two of you?
They all hit together.
Renaud?
I pass the violin over and I'm got a little like a pleasant buzz going, which is just enough to squash the desire to run. Once I give him the violin, I take a few steps back and I'm going to position myself near the door in case someone tries to leave. We're all doing this.
Okay, you stand back over the door, and as
I'm mainly watching Pressy.
You place the violin into Zan's hands. He takes it like you've given him some kind of like divine ambrosia or something. He takes it and he twitches and he steps forward into the middle of the room, and then with one terrible stroke, he begins to play. Shrieking, shrill violin music slams itself into your heads immediately. All of you go reeling backwards as the music starts to completely overwhelm you. I think the best way to go through this is just to read, because I think it is beautifully written. So I'm going to read directly from the book. Zan draws the bow across the violin, and a ripping, tearing note squeals out and grows longer and louder, resonating in the ears and the minds of the listeners. As the note is drawn further out, the room seems to grow dim. Zan pauses, then his fingers and arm blur as he attacks the violin with impossible speed, notes bursting through notes at a speed impossible to comprehend, as though the instrument had 100 strings and all of them are shrieking in agony. The walls of the room crumble from the top. The roof melts apart like an iris opening, and the starry night above is exposed. Zan's furious playing creates a tornado of force which pins everybody to the spot. All of you need to make a listening roll, as suddenly the world around you begins to morph. The walls dissolve. You can see a giant starry night that is exposed to the middle of the void above you. Great, big, bleeding, wounds that are the stars, that are the eyes of the universe, all looking down at once.
Ooh, that's good. Okay.
Right. Okay. Fantastic. This is one of those paradoxical ones. You want to fail this. The two of you are overwhelmed. Pressy, you
Pressy's
hear,
having such a
and
bad
with a
day.
shriek, you grab at your ears as your eardrums explode inside your head. And you clamp your hands over. You need to take a D3 of damage.
Oh, dude.
Does this mean like Pressy's the only one that actually hears the whole song?
Just a single point of damage. You can't escape this now. This song isn't just heard, it is felt. It is experienced. The chill of space swims into the room, and suddenly you can see nothing except the demented musician in the center of the room who continues to play. There is a rushing of black wings around you, and it feels like the entire apartment below you is crumbling away, exploding out. And as the music continues to play, you can feel the music stretching out into space, and it tells you the truth. It tells you that life on Earth is an accident in the scale of the universe. It is a malign accident. There is no righteous order. Chaos reigns, and this is the music of chaos. Everyone must make a sanity check. If you fail, you will take a D100 of sanity loss.
Cool. I love a D100 roll. No! I wanted it so bad.
I'm gonna go
All right,
mad.
don't roll your sanity losses because we'll do this one by one as this continues. Now, I want to keep talking about some other things that happen here. You two have failed your sanity rolls, and you are over on the other side of the room. It specifically said Renault, which means that when you see black wings begin to swoop around Zan, who's playing faster and faster, and you see a grand shadow flash over and begin to pull at Celine as she's pulled up into the air, you are not able to act, but maybe you were standing right nearby, Hugel, you might be able to. But first, Thierry, make a 1d10 sanity loss. That is for succeeding.
Sure. Give me one quick second, because I'm going to figure out what my indefinite for today is. Okay, if I roll a 7 or higher. Bloody.
Yep.
Ooh, and
That's
9.
indefinite.
Fantastic.
It's going bad.
You are overwhelmed by the music. You succeeded. You understand what this. You were expecting it, but it's so much all at once. Meanwhile, Hugel,
Hello.
make a D100 roll. This could very easily be the end. Oh, good
Holy
God. And let's go across
That's
to
insane.
Pressy.
That is low.
No, it is not
No, it's
insane.
That's very sane. Damn. You
Pressy,
just
make a
gazed into the
D100
chaos
roll.
and
Will
drew
it
a
be your
logical
fourth
conclusion.
100 of the night?
Oh my gosh!
Later,
It would be a
Krista.
75, well over the capacity. You, Christoph, it's so much, all at once. The music from beyond. You think of your wife downstairs, your children downstairs. You see the building dissolve around you. Your eardrums are burst. They are bleeding. You collapse to the ground. Let's talk first. Renault, are you doing anything or pinned watching in terror?
Well, I'm in a bout of madness.
Yes, you are, actually. That's a good point. Can you please... we'll come back to that bout of madness in a second then, but you will not be able to act immediately, in which case you might be able
Hugel's
to
the
act
only one.
somehow.
I was
Hugel.
holding. I said specifically I was actually holding on to Celine as a way of like keeping her comforting her, and also the fact that I was moderately like concerned about everything that was about to happen.
You can see her eyes wide as well. The
Yeah.
music is affecting her just as much. The black wings are sort of slapping around the room, and you can see this sudden lunge as some being grabs at Celine and starts to pull her up. Can you make a strength check for me?
Yes. I will say, you will not take this woman today. And hope that that's enough. Hard success.
All right. You grab a hold and the claws rip at her flesh, and she screams out in agony, but the black wings
Can
fade
I, like,
away.
Essentially, yeah, I was going to attempt to, like, hit it if it didn't let go.
It sweeps up. It is hardly there for a moment. Meanwhile, Pressy, tell us what is going through your head. Tell us what is going through your mind as your sanity trickles away, collapsing and turning you irrevocably, permanently insane.
I guess I won't have to go to my trial.
Those are the last thoughts that go through. You think of Melody. You think
I
of your
do.
father,
I do. Didn't even get to see him this week.
and you think of the stars, the chaos above, the court of Azathoth, where, if the ritual is to be right, your soul will be sent to be tormented, to be amongst chaos for all of eternity. And with that grand realization, you collapse to the ground, and all of you will fall. Everything goes blank. And for Celine, I will make a sanity check. Give me just one moment. A success.
She's holding it together remarkably well.
Does she will still lose that D10 though, yeah?
She will still lose a D10. Let's quickly just get that out of the way. I typed that into frickin' Roll20 chat. That's hilarious. Not Roll20 chat, Twitch chat. That's hilarious.
Amazing.
Only 3.
Hey, she's handling
Lucky-
it very
lucky
well.
people.
I will
In which case, quickly, I've just because you're all going to wake up in a particular state. As your eyes open, you don't know how long it's been. The windows in the attic are showing night outside, but you don't know if it's true night or another fake night or what. Zan is dead. He is lying on the ground. The violin in his hands have exploded, and his fingers are charred and blackened. Pieces of shrapnel of wood have pierced into his throat and his face. And he's lying on the ground, this final scream of insane terror on his face. Celine is on the ground, rocking back and forth. She's sobbing. She's looking at the body. She is looking around the room, which seems to be intact. The roof is still there. Pressy is in the corner, his hands holding his bleeding ears. He is rocking back and forth and muttering to himself. All he can hear is the music from beyond. It is trapped in his mind. There is nothing else as he writhes upon the ground. Renaud, you are also indefinitely insane, and we will make rolls for you next session, determining your immediate actions.
Lucky.
You stagger to your feet, Hugel, and gaze across the scene. Only one person is still okay, and that is little Hieronymus sitting on the bed, and he is laughing and clapping, and he yells, "Again! Again! Papa, again!" And with that, we'll end the session. Thank you so much, everybody. Look at that. Wow. The end of another session of Reign of Terror. We are very close to the end game now, and tune in next time to see how it all goes. Thank you very much. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much to Dave. Thank you very much to Art. Jackson, thank you, my friend.
Thank you, Jamie.
What a
I had a great time.
You had a great time.
You deserved it, mate.
The fate of Pressy, will still be determined in the final session. I might have a talk to you. Perhaps you'll have some additional input on other characters, but Pressy's journey is not quite over yet.
Oh, no.
If it goes where we all think it will be going.
It can still get worse, mate.
Well, if it continues on the trajectory, how does eternity in the course of Azathoth singing to the blind idiot god sound?
Not great.
Yeah.
What else you
You're
got?
the perfect boy for it, though.
I mean, if it
That
stops
voice.
the rest of the world dying.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you to you, wonderful audience, for joining us. That's
Thank you.
Call of Cthulhu. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Godspeed.